You are listening to the Hello Sport podcast.
Yeah, so they OnlyFans. Excuse me.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that was a bit much. I put some mayo on it.
I know
well.
I did. Yeah, I know you did. But I didn't know if it was necessary.
In these times as well.
Well, it's just, you know, it's an aggressive start.
Well, why make yourself sound fucking worse than you are?
Yeah.
That was just...
You wouldn't have done that in public.
No, I wouldn't have. Especially, yeah, not if you're out trying to sort of like... You know, just move through society without being noticed. You don't want to be fucking...
Keep your head down.
You don't want to be coughing to any great...
Draw attention to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. On your own terms. OnlyFans fucking... In what has to be either a publicity stunt or one of the most boneheaded board-level decisions I've ever heard. They were like, yeah, we're taking all sexually explicit content.
I saw that. I saw that they had taken away...
The
anything
only thing,
sexual. The only thing that makes them a thing. Otherwise, what I'm going to pay money to watch someone do what?
Well, that's what fucking Patreon is, right?
Yeah, like their Patreon exists, but also, if what am I paying for? Like,
but well, I mean, I think there is an element.
Because there's been an agreement already that I'm paying for, you know,
titties and
ass
penises and ass and fucking
and whatever
whatever
the fuck you want to get up to. But that was the agreement.
That was the
that we'd come to.
That this is what OnlyFans is for. I only recently realized that OnlyFans had other things to it, like that it wasn't just tits, pussy, dicks, and ass.
What else goes on?
I think like you can put like brands and shit. Like again, I think like technically we could have an OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's like Patreon. You can kind of just upload whatever and let people...
Can you upload?
So it's like Patreon.
But I don't think... Yeah. Was it started as a sexual thing?
I don't know if it was specifically started as a sexual thing, but I have heard bits and pieces of like people who do like something random like wood sculpting, and you'd have like your own thing where you do classes and stuff like that on it.
I mean, that's obviously for people who don't have a sex drive. That's for asexual people to pay money to.
Patreon started, and when that started, there was similar stuff like this going on. Like there was adult content, but eventually when they, I don't know, got big and had to deal with credit card companies and banks and stuff, they cancelled all the explicit.
I think what it is because they don't want it to be like a service. They think they can't police young underage people putting up sexually explicit content, I think was what I read.
Yeah, essentially like the credit card companies and the banks, and because they're trying to secure venture capital funding, OnlyFans. And so basically they have to kind of be a lot more on top because these credit card companies and banks have like absolutely no tolerance for like, you know, people slipping through the system of like maybe non-consensual videos or, as you said, underage.
Aren't these banks also, though, very comfortable like funding fucking militia and terrorist groups around the world? And I'm just saying that on the most peripheral, heard it somewhere level.
Well, that's Joe Rogan stuff.
Well, not even, I wouldn't even say it's Joe Rogan, dude. I don't think he's even saying that shit.
It's fucking not Joe Rogan.
It's zeitgeisty.
No,
YouTube-y.
No.
Oh, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
That's who I wanted. That's who I wanted. Alex Jones. Isn't it funny, though, that if you say to the people, I want you to start paying for my content, that it quickly becomes sexual because that's what people are prepared to pay for.
Well, that's all I'm prepared. Well, actually, I mean,
I don't really, I'm going to pay for you to do a funny video? I don't really give a shit.
Well, look, I think people will pay for content.
You're going to slip a nip out?
I think people will pay for content. See, I'm actually more prepared to pay for like good content than like nudes and shit.
But what I'm saying is, on the whole, Tom, it seems that sex sells.
Yes, it does.
That's what we know.
That's why it's a saying. But
I'm not saying you wouldn't pay for content. I'm saying it's funny how when the platform is left to its own devices, it becomes quickly about.
Well, you look at like
ass.
Insta thoughts and shit, whether it's guy or girl, but it's like. I was shocked, I guess, because I've never fucking had like a porn subscription or an OnlyFans. Well, we've got an OnlyFans, company OnlyFans, I think, which Dave probably still uses because he's the only one with the password. I bet you he's getting fucking...
He's just changed,
He's just changed the bank details maybe so it doesn't show up for us, but he's definitely ripping and tearing on that thing. But yeah, I'm like, there's Pornhub and shit. What's the need? I guess there's like a relationship developed between like someone you follow on Instagram and it's like, oh, you want to see a bit more, do you? Whereas like porn is just sort of like he's a random person.
No, they're completely different things. Yeah. I can see the extension.
And you talk to him and shit. Have you been talking to him on OnlyFans, Dave?
Nah. I've been messaging, but they haven't been responding.
Yeah. Right.
But so It's pretty clever though, isn't it? Because you pay for a subscription, do you not, to access them, and then off the back of that, they go, "Ooh, something really spicy coming along.
Pay some more.
Extra."
Yeah. You pay like a monthly fee, and then if you want to see some serious shit, then you pay a bit more. Like when we paid for
People
Tomic,
banging shit on there, don't they?
yes,
Yeah.
When we paid for Bernard Tomic and his Missos video, of which we got some warm water in that territory, but we paid for it. We paid the subscription, and then it was like we got in there and like, oh yeah, it's also $30 to see the video. We were like, what the fuck?
Did a friend of the show ever send you the other stuff they did? Tomic.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
One of them was spicy as fuck.
Oh really?
One of them was working him.
Chongin.
No.
Oh, sorry, Poland.
Poland, yeah.
Really? Of Bernie?
Yes.
Do we know it was him?
We don't. Well, I mean, no.
That's the only thing
It
I'm
doesn't
thinking.
pan to his face.
So I'm saying you don't know that. It's just someone getting polished as opposed to
Well, it was on
knowing
her
whether-
account though.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, so you're saying she could have been polishing anyway.
of course she could have. Unless there was a fucking tennis racket in his hand. How the fuck do we know? Who's he sponsored by? Nike? I need to see Nike socks and
He
a tennis racket.
He wouldn't be sponsored by Nike anymore. No way.
He was.
Not at the time.
Listen, there's no way to know.
He wasn't smacking ass when he was getting sponsored by
No,
Nike.
but I'm just
way.
saying I don't believe that would have been him. Is all I'm saying. Or it could be, but you're like, there's no.
It's not.
Does he have a birthmark? We can fucking, you know.
How do we validate the shaft?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm saying.
Shaft validation.
Shaft validation is key in this situation.
Well, it is.
But anyway, so OnlyFans, in an attempt to try and get venture capital, we're gonna get rid of sex off the platform, and everyone's like,
Why did they need venture capital?
yeah, well, surely they're
making a healthy
fuckloads.
clip.
I think they
If there are Instagram thoughts out there that are fucking making what $70,000 a month and shit, surely they're taking a big old slice
Dude, I'm
of
pretty
that
sure
pie.
some have made like $1 million in a day, where they're
Well,
like,
then, mate, what? OnlyFans isn't getting their cut. Their
they
slice
definitely
of
are.
the
They
pie?
take don't they take a healthy chunk?
Yeah. I think it's 20 or 30% they take. I think
Then
it's 20.
what the? Surely revenue's good.
I don't know.
Get OnlyFans revenues up for last year or this year.
Just get them up for recent years. But then today they came out and said that they are putting a halt on their plans to ban sexually explicit content.
Because everything would have fallen in a heap.
Well, you're going, oh, we need money, otherwise we're not going to grow. Oh, actually, the money we're making now is better than the zero money we'll make if we get all of the Insta.
Well,
thoughts
it's
off there.
no, but it's also like you go to venture capitalists and they go, please give us money. We don't know why yet. Dior's on that. And then they go, okay, show me your revenues since you fucking banned sex. And they've gone from, I don't know, $1 million a second to
$0.
$0 a second.
But then
And also, you're just inviting someone else who is way more lowbrow to come in and
Tiger,
go.
that's who's doing it.
Tiger.
That fucking, not Tiger
Oh
Woods,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Tiger of,
TYGA.
yeah, the rapper.
Yeah.
Kardashian related.
Is he related to them?
Well, I don't know. He was
Well, yeah, wasn't he dating one of them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, who
I don't
knows?
think he's related.
Anyway, that's when they said to ban it, because he's an OnlyFans king. He's on there putting Shaft out.
Oh, yeah.
So I've heard. But he was like, I'm just going to start my own one. And then OnlyFans was like, whoa.
And he also said he'll give more money to the producer. He said like, I'll only take 10% of revenue or something.
Well, it's easy for him to say because he doesn't fucking need to really worry, does he?
Well, that's to get the foot in the door.
That's to get the foot in the door and then-
Did I say 10?
Yeah,
I meant
well,
20.
there are some service fees here that we need and, just general upkeep.
And establishment fees and
Yeah.
upkeep fees and maintenance fees.
Yeah, tax.
Call it 20%.
Let's just call it 20%.
Let's call it 20.
So I got the numbers here. According to Axios, so in 2020, the net revenue was 375 million. 2021, 1.2 billion. And they've projected 2022 for 2.5 billion.
Right, so what are we doing? That's
Why do they
all off the
need-
back
why do
of
they
fucking
need-
bare
why do they,
ass.
So what? That's revenue. So they would take what, 20% of that?
Mate, you're the businessman.
But is that what? What does their take?
Again, I wouldn't.
Do they? But I'm saying, have they released that? What their commission is? Because then you
Don't
can.
know if what's their commission. So they've said,
Again, I don't think like this. So you just have to think like this for both of us.
yeah, I really don't. It says it total amount paid to creators since inception, $3.2 billion. and more than 300 creators earn at least $1 million annually. More than 16,000 creators earn at least $50,000 annually. More than
that's not that many.
more than 7 million fans spend on OnlyFans each month, and more users who only consume free content.
So there's free content on OnlyFans.
Yeah, but I feel like it's exactly the same as what you get on people's Instagram profiles.
Right. Well, don't pretend like you don't know because you've got our account logins, you fuck. I wonder
Go
if we
on
still
and look
have
his
that.
history.
Yeah, we can. We can just go and see who he's looking at. Tiger,
He's like,
probably.
Fuck.
Tiger and who else? Is there anyone else famous on there? That's also a thing I think as well, like when you're like famous and then things start to, you know, plateau for your career, you get on there and start swinging your dick around or your titties. People go,
Yeah.
ooh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's happened before. It'll happen again.
It'll happen again. It could be a publicity stunt. I don't know what benefit there is unless you're just sort of trying to get a gauge of how much people love tits and ass.
So is there concern though that it is underage and
I think they can't
consent?
control that. But there is a part of me, and I know that this is a far more hectic situation of like people underage doing shit like that. But like, this is a question more than a statement, kind of a statement, but also a question. Is it not kind of just like blaming those huge fucking cargo ships? Like you blame the ship for drug smuggling, where it's like, well, fucking, it's not actually their fault. They're bringing shit in. The problem is the person who's actually doing it. Like, you find the person who's putting underage shit in there, and you get them, as opposed to the service, which is not intended for that at all, but is being misused.
Yeah.
You're right. But I was reading, and the legislation in America and probably in most other places says that for that kind of stuff, the company who's liable is, I can't remember if it's the company or the credit card company or like doing the transaction.
Right.
Basically, like they're on the hook if it happens.
It's tough, isn't it? Because it's a fucking, it's a hairy
You can't be
situation.
seen to be taking payments for that
Yeah.
shit.
No,
because,
exactly.
Like I don't know if
So you got to police it then, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
But I don't think it's that. Well, then you're talking about legitimate verification of.
Well, yeah,
Well, I
like
thi- I think
fucking.
that's what they're trying to
How
do.
hard's that?
Well,
to
they
make
do
it
it for
work.
gambling
Put your
companies.
fucking
do it.
license in
So-
your ID, all that sort of shit.
Gambling
like,
companies do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Not a big deal.
I think Pornhub does that because a couple of years ago or
Not when I'm on there.
no, so a couple of years ago, or so I've read, they like cleanse the site of all essentially like those like amateur videos, and I think now they're only taking submissions from like verified producers and like companies and things like that. So basically, like I think they ran into a problem because MasterCard and Visa or whoever would like stopped processing their membership payments because there was too much like etch content on there that they didn't know if it was legit or like consensual. So
What
now
percentage of
they've cleared that
people
up.
do you reckon have porn membership?
Can you just even find that? Because
don't-
for the life of me, I don't understand, and it's not a judgment. I just don't understand the point.
But like, if you need the good stuff,
That's
you're spending too much time on there, right?
That's
I
it,
would
right? You're
say.
too addicted to porn if you need to spend money on porn. I need it for just like fleeting moments of my life where it's like, yep, all right, that helped.
On with the day.
Yeah.
On with the
Okay, on with the day. Pretend like that never
On with
happened.
the day.
Sorry, I just had a little fucking pit stop at the fucking, the lizard brain part of my mind.
So, in a study recently that looked at 821 people across the spectrum of whatever people like to watch and whatever, apparently 10.5% have paid porn subscriptions.
10%?
Which isn't a one-off payment, but a recurring direct debit that's been set up.
That to me
That's
seems.
high.
You reckon? I kind of think that's like that makes sense to me. I'm like,
You
yeah,
reckon 1 in 10 of our mates have?
when you put it like that, no. But just in general, because not necessarily, it wouldn't
But you
necessarily.
would
be-
never know. It's not something that.
No, it's not something people are going to talk about.
Not something people admit.
Although sometimes it might, with an OnlyFans, it might be. Like, I think that seems to be like a much more normalized porn subscription-y sort of situation as opposed to like,
But they're not the same thing.
well, if you're getting fucked on it, then it is. It's just that the relationship to it is different because you
But
are.
how many people are getting fucked on OnlyFans?
Oh, dude, like OnlyFans is, you get fucked on
yeah,
OnlyFans.
but I think, from what I
don't think
kind
it's
of
that
feel like,
common.
the vibes I get is that if people want to watch Chonging, they're going to go to Pornhub or they're going to go like online where
Yes.
there's like full videos and whatever, and they're not going to pay. But to me, OnlyFans, it more seems like yeah, like you said, someone you follow or maybe like someone you know, and you'd be like, oh, like it's a bit more personal, and I want to like, you know, have a.
There's a relationship there.
Yeah.
But it's still fucking. It's still porn.
Yeah, and because I'm pretty sure like most of the like full on chonging content that's on OnlyFans is produced by like either sex workers or like people who are already porn stars.
I also feel
kind of
bad for
get the
people that like if you make your money chonging or sucking or fucking, which I think is completely legitimate as long as you're not getting exploited. Like imagine if you're on OnlyFans and that's how you made your nut, and you're like, holy shit, what?
Have you ever seen Louis Theroux's documentary on like porn back in sort of maybe the 90s, I think?
Yes, and I remember it ended etchly.
That's what I'm saying. Like at least from the guys' perspective, the guys that are in it, they're not. It doesn't
Doesn't end well.
It's not a glamorous life
Is that
in
the
the
one where
slightest.
You're just a dick.
Is that the one where he meets the dude who's like gay for pay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen
Correct.
that one, yeah.
And then it's sort of like, and then he goes back and visits them like 10 years
But
later.
doesn't one of them kill
porn's
himself?
died.
Yeah.
Like, because that was in the glory days of
Yeah.
fucking VHS tape and shit. And then he goes back and the internet's just fucking killed the industry.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the guy. It was a very sad ending for the guys.
One of the guy killed himself, I think.
Yeah. And then the other guy was like, that was a weird fucking period in my life. Remember the shorter guy?
Yeah. It's a hard one to come back. Well, not come back from, but like to go on and live your life normally after being in the porn industry, I imagine not the easiest thing to do. And maybe that's part of societal stigma, but it is kind of like
You got to be a different
operator.
operator to, especially as a guy, to be in porn, I reckon. I would not be able to perform on the job in front of 30 blokes. Like,
Well,
film
30
camera.
Yeah.
Cameras and lighting and shit. And like,
No.
can we get another take? Can we do that again? Like,
Or just hold it for another like 10 minutes.
Also, like just being able to maintain a fucking the rage for that long, but also in the situation where like sometimes you might be chonging like one of the hottest women on the planet, and you've got to just be like, ripping and tearing. Fuck that. I mean, it'd be hard enough to get a boner, let alone to hold on to it if you're chonging the hottest woman in the world.
it'd be tough.
It'd be tough, but. Yeah, OnlyFans. Sure.
It doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me one iota that they've backflipped. They would have had to.
Did you guys used to have Tumblrs where you would like scroll through a bit of porn on that?
Dude, I've missed
I don't know what Tumblr
Tumblr.
is.
I've
You don't
missed
know what Tumblr is?
Pinterest.
I don't know
All
what
these
Tumblr
fucking
is.
things.
Like you just do not know what Tumblr is.
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it enough, and I think I know the logo.
And it's, well, I think the logo is TUMBLR.
Yeah, I think it is now. Yeah. So, I
No,
don't know.
if you put a gun in my head and said, if you don't answer correctly what Tumblr is,
Oh, yeah.
you will perish. I'd go, well, fucking pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm not even going to bother.
No, I'm not even going to waste my time trying to fucking have a crack at this one. Just shoot me. Just make it quick.
So Tumblr is like a blogging website essentially where you could just post random like photos or videos or whatever.
Do you follow people on Tumblr?
Yeah. I think so.
So like Instagram, posting random photos and videos.
A bit less like profile-y, I think. And it's all,
Would
and
you
it's all
follow
on
people who are
laptop
like
as well.
popular on Tumblr?
Not really. It was more like kind of anonymous, and like you just kind of had like pages that were just like a certain vibe, and you would be like, oh, that's a cool vibe. That page is posting like, you know, different
Right,
content.
but if it's a fucking huge thing, like how do you find and explore and discover
I don't know.
pages?
I wasn't around it too much. I think just through other pages reposting stuff and things like that. And so there was a lot of adult content on there, which was like just pretty much unregulated and stuff. And then they sold to, I think Yahoo, I'm trying to find the numbers, but they sold to Yahoo for a shitload of money, like maybe over $1 billion or something in their heyday. Yahoo gutted all the adult content for them. And then like Yahoo sold it to someone else for like 30 million after that.
Oh, God.
So it pretty much
Yahoo love a bed shit.
Do they? I mean,
Well, I mean, just like they've fucking...
they don't seem
They've
like
been perennial losers.
Yeah, they kind of are, aren't they? And again, I don't know if there's any sort of sponsorship opportunities, corporate dollary dues we're burning here, but that doesn't matter. We don't.
Okay, sorry, I just got these numbers. So in 2013, Yahoo acquired Tumblr for 1.1 billion.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, Verizon Media had it, sold it to some company called Automatic for less than $3 million.
Less than 3 million.
Yeah.
Dude, you cut out tits and ass, and the fucking price plummets.
The price will plummet.
And you're
Sex
right, Yahoo,
sells.
again, as to finish what I'm saying, we obviously don't like to burn the corporate dollary due, but we have to be honest with the audience, and Yahoo is for beaters.
If you're a Yahoo user, you need to have a long, hard look at yourself.
Is Yahoo a search engine?
Yes.
I don't know who the fuck uses that.
That's what I'm saying. You should almost just do that to wig people out.
Well,
you get it up on Yahoo.
Go to yahoo.com.au/hello sport and you'll be able to find everything you need to know there.
Just Yahoo it, mate.
How is Yahoo still a thing from a search engine perspective?
Well,
is Yahoo as well? Was that birth of the Australian slang word to be a Yahoo?
No, I don't think so.
Yahoo serious.
Yahoo serious. Reckless Kelly was a great movie. I don't care what anyone says.
So Yahoo have Yahoo News, Yahoo Mail, Finance, Sport, Search. They had a streaming service, which I'm pretty sure died like as soon as it was. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yahoo streaming service. No thanks. Okay. You'd have to pay me to fucking watch it.
Oh, yeah. What subscription?
How much is that a month? What slice of the search pie do Yahoo take up?
I don't know about slice of the search pie, but it says
no.
There's Bing as well.
Oh, Bing, DuckDuckGo. Bing's also a huge day.
Yeah.
In terms of like why.
Is Ask Jeeves still with us?
Jeeves, I think, is still with us. I don't know.
You should ask Jeeves questions.
Yeah, I thought Jeeves wasn't so much a... Did he become a search engine? Did he like level up? Or was he just always like a ask me dumb shit and I'll...
do my best.
Yeah. He was like the Siri before Siri had a voice.
Yes. He's like the forefather of...
Yeah, Siri's dad.
Well, granddad even.
Or granddad. Yeah, can you go search engine popularity?
Yeah, I'm trying to find. So globally, Google accounts for 76% of desktop 76% of desktop search traffic and 86% of mobile search traffic.
Makes sense.
That's just Google. I'm trying to find numbers.
That's not as high as I would have thought.
Of the fucking entire planet search.
You also got to think you got China.
China don't have Google.
That's true. Good point. Good point.
Okay, hang on. All right, here we go. So as of June 2021, and I'm pretty sure this is for mobile, Google have 87%, Bing have 5.56, Yahoo have 2.7.
Oh, there you go.
Poor old Yahoo.
You're getting beaten by Bing as well. I didn't even think of Bing.
When you're losing to Bing, you're in trouble.
That's tough, dude. 2%, did you say, Dave?
Yeah.
Fuck.
There's also Baidu, which has 0.54%.
It's crazy that something like Yahoo, obviously they've got many arms to their business, but like why you'd even bother at this point?
Well, I think 2% of the pie is
still pretty good.
It's still pretty juicy.
Which just gives you an idea of how fucking terrifyingly large Google
How
is.
much did Rupert Murdoch lose on MySpace? I believe it was a significant portion.
Yeah, that's such a boomer purchase. And I mean, he's not even a boomer.
You remember when
fucking
Tom
old as
had to
shit.
be your mate?
I never had MySpace.
Didn't you?
No. Everyone else did. It was just one of those things where I was like, I get it.
Too cool for school?
I think I was.
You got a bit of that in you.
I think I was
You're
bit
a
too
late
cool for
adopter.
it. I don't like
you
to be...
pretend that it's
well,
lame
no, it was more like it was
until
just...
you adopt.
The thing for me with fucking MySpace, I was just like... It was also when computers, like, you sort of might have had a laptop, but you didn't. It's not like you had a laptop. Now everyone has a laptop. And, you know, like, you had to go and just sit on... Like, it was almost like you had to go to MySpace as opposed to, like, it just being there on your phone or something like that. It was just one of those things where it just wasn't... Let me play fucking video games and shit. I don't need to go and top friends. Look, it seemed like fun.
Surely you're on MSN Messenger.
Yeah, I was on MSN Messenger, but I was like fucking 13, 14, and it's like you're talking to all the chicks from school and all your mates and shit.
Yeah, but that was still like you would go onto the fucking...
Yeah, but there was a lot more legwork involved in this MySpace that just didn't interest me.
Sure.
Look, no disrespect. I'm on Facebook, but again, I had a Facebook made for me by my girlfriend at the time. So I was like,
Not for you, man.
Did it take you a while to come onto Instagram as well?
Yep. Yeah. Took me ages to get on Instagram.
Was it like reluctant when you finally did it? You were like, oh.
I don't know why I did it in the end, but I was fucking... I mean, it doesn't feel late now because I've had it for ages, but
You're a late adopter, I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, I don't just like to jump on shit because everyone's doing it. I'm not a fucking sheeple.
You're like, wireless headphones? No thanks.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, but I am
I
actually...
prefer the cord if you don't mind.
I am actually like the biggest sheep. I'm just a slow sheep. That's all it is. Yeah.
A slow
Yeah,
sheep.
it's not like I'm not a sheep because I eventually do everything everyone does. It's just that I'm a slow one.
Yeah, a late adopter.
Yeah.
So in 2005, News Corp bought MySpace for 580 million. In 2011, they sold for 35 million.
Oh,
Nice.
huge.
Huge.
That's print media vibes, dude.
Is MySpace still with us?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still up.
Why? Come on.
Let go.
Come on. It used
People
it,
don't know how to
It had
fucking
like a
pull the
second.
plug out.
It had like a minor second wind of like as a music sharing platform.
I've heard that. I don't know if that was true.
Well, but I mean, again, it just goes, okay, well, now Facebook can do that as well. So, sorry. Facebook's kind of as well, though. Don't you reckon? Facebook used to be glorious.
Like young kids don't have Facebook.
No,
they
It's
hate
not
it.
like
Yeah.
a-
Well, it's
They
like the
hate it.
shit. It's like
It's
the thing
for
your
old
parents are
people.
on.
Yeah.
The only thing I use Facebook
I
for
use
is the
it for-
punters and dribblers page.
You know what I realised I use it
and
for?
about even.
When they pulled all the news and shit from it,
Yeah.
I was like, and I went on there, I was like, what in God's name would I come back here for?
Yeah.
And that Facebook were like, well, you know, news only accounts for a small portion of. I'm like,
Bullshit.
bullshit.
Yeah.
If you took news out of that operation, you'd be shut down in 3 months.
Fully. Like, I realized when
That's all I
they took
use
the
it
news
for.
out, and then I was like, oh, fuck. Like, you'd see the news, and it was like, oh, there's been like a fucking landslide in somewhere in the world that's been going on for like a couple of days, and everyone's buried. And you're like, I had no idea about this because it's just where you see all your shit.
That's where I go. I get my news off there. I scroll through it, bang, because you can, and then you can click through to links as well, which Instagram you can't do.
No, you've got to fucking... Why wouldn't they just make it... Because they don't want to direct you out of Instagram. That's why they don't let you put links in the fucking posts and shit, I reckon. You can swipe up, but
Yeah,
like...
and I think if it's... Well, the only time they do want you is when it's a paid sponsorship, which is what Facebook has as well. Like, if you've paid to sponsor a link on Facebook and you get a click out of it, then that's going to bring in more money.
And
Yeah,
ads, you can click
but I
ads.
remember like... And even like us to a way lesser degree, but you look at someone like Batuta or... Well, let's just use them, right? But like when they started... Their audience fucking grew so quick because it was basically like it allowed organic growth. It allowed for just like engagement to like tags and shares and shit, and it just like blew up. I think I remember one of them saying
They
that
said
like
it recently.
100,000 follows in a day or some shit they got once. Was that what it was?
Yeah, they were throwing out crazy numbers from the
numbers.
heydays, like biblical numbers.
Yeah.
And since they've changed the algorithm, they don't get a tenth of that.
Well, but no one does.
Or 20th of that.
You have to pay for the fucking
Yeah.
thing to be seen. But Facebook is now just like, again, punters and dribblers is great, and it's like why I use Facebook. And the amount of people who have been like, like people who have signed up to Facebook and been like, dude, I've just signed back up to Facebook so I can get in the punters dribblers.
Yeah, I know. And that has made it tough for my vetting. Because
You're trying to
usually
vet
a dead
bots.
giveaway is how old the account is. So if you're listening and you want to get into punters and dribblers and you want to make my life easier, put a fucking display picture in that isn't like...
Put a display picture in of like you with a punters and dribblers hat. If you got one.
Oh, that'll get you in.
Yeah.
Or just a photo of a punters and dribblers hat. That'll get you in. Like if you don't want to, if you don't want to fucking
or
reveal
you know what?
your identity.
I tell you what you could do if you don't want to reveal your identity. Then just put up a photo. Put your profile picture as like "G'day Tom and Eddie," and then we'll know that you're legit. You're not a bot.
yeah. Then you get in straight
Because
away.
bots won't do that.
Because like if I've got to go through 50, or 60 or 70,000 requests, I'm like, am I going to go into every profile?
No, you don't.
Depends if I've got time or not. But what the other thing Facebook's done is if I click on their profile, it then takes me to another screen that says view profile.
Yeah.
And then I have to click it again. Instead of just giving me one seamless sort of
Transition to their profile.
I've got to click it twice, and that adds time to my day. Time that I don't necessarily want to spend fucking
Doing your job.
doing my job. So make it easy for me. Say, let me in Tom and Eddie in your DP.
Yeah.
And
then it's easy.
we may well get to a point where that's the only thing that'll get you in.
That's the only way. Well, because Facebook will be such a ghost town that it's like just put up your fucking G'day, Tom and Eddie. And you
How long do you reckon until Facebook dies?
Well, they could find a way to reinvent it or like to make it, to
But
revitalize it.
so what they used to do is they used to just buy the next big thing.
Yeah.
But there's like new monopoly laws and shit that I believe they brought in the US that prevents that. Like,
Really?
for
I
example-
doubt that.
No, so for example,
Google has 80% of the fucking market. You almost have a monopoly.
There are theories that they wouldn't green light a purchase of Instagram, for example, anymore. Because they actually want to break up Facebook because it's too powerful. So they wouldn't. They're very against it.
Well, they
they
used to
can
ha-
like fucking. They can swing
Influence elections and shit.
100%. If they just fucking pushed ads to every fucking Liberal voter, being like, "Go and vote today," but didn't do the same for Labor in Australia, for
Yeah.
example. If it was like you didn't have to turn up to vote,
Yeah.
you'd win that fucker on the spot.
Well, yeah, they used to have laws like that in Australia, the 2 out of 3 rule, where you could only own 2 out of 3 of radio, TV, and newspaper. But a few years ago, Malcolm Turnbull got rid of those laws, and that's when,
Of course.
that's when Nine bought over Fairfax, and so now Nine have radio stations, TV, and newspapers.
There you go.
And I don't know, but I think their radio, like 2GB, Ben Fordham taking over Alan Jones, and it's like, obviously their ratings are still good, but it's like
They're
Colin
below-
Jackie O fucking
yeah.
took over them.
Yeah.
Well, they're fucking.
Ben Fordham's too much of a lefty for 2GB audiences.
That's what they were saying. I remember someone saying, "Go woke, go broke" with fucking Ben Fordham as like the fucking.
Was that Friendly Geordies?
No? Well, like he said
did
it
a
as
funny
well.
video
He
on that
did
that
do a
we
funny
watched.
video, but no, but also that
Go
was
woke,
what-
go broke is not a Friendly Geordies thing. I
No.
was just saying in the context of Ben Fordham.
Yeah, he had a fucking serious dig at him. But also the latest Go Woke, Go Broke is the Wiggles getting like 4 new characters. So like now there's 2 of each colour for something new that they're doing. So they've got like,
You're going to have to explain.
well, so there are 4 Wiggles
Yes.
of 4 colours. 3 guys, 1 girl.
Yep, at the moment, yep.
Lockie, Simon, Anthony and Emma.
Yep. And Anthony is the old blue
He's
wiggle.
OG
and the
Wiggle.
current
He's-
blue wiggle?
Yes.
Has he kept the blue?
Yeah, he's blue. He's the original blue, still there. He
Who's
started
Wake
the-
Up Jeff?
Lockie.
Do they wake Lockie up?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Lockie still gets
Wake
woken
Up Lockie does not have the same ring to it.
It definitely doesn't, but that's maybe because we were reared on Wake Up Jeff. So it's always going to sound weird to us, whereas to Evie, Wake Up Lockie is the shit.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Because Wake Up Jeff doesn't rhyme, just sounds.
No, exactly. Just he had to move houses because people were fucking driving past his house at 3 a.m. Kids who had like grown up with him and become of age, and they'd go past his house and be like, "Wake up, Jeff!" But
Are
like
you
fucking
serious?
yeah.
That is such a good troll.
I know.
Holy shit.
But it's like that
But you
would
know
cause you
what?
to move.
If you fucking made as much coin as Jeff did just by being woken up, then it's part of it.
Well, yeah, you could probably soundproof your walls, but also like I get
Get the
Jeff's-
triple glazing, Jeff.
I get Jeff's problems if that is,
Yeah, but triple glaze.
you can do it, Jeff. Like you fucking, you might have to spend a couple more.
Aren't you
on this
Australia's greatest export?
one. You'd have to think so. But anyway, so the Wiggles have got 4 new people.
So do you
Who are
wanna
they?
hear? So okay, so you got C. Hay Hawkins, Teshehay. Don't know how to pronounce that. properly.
TS,
Ehay.
yeah.
She's the new red one. She said, "Wow." It says she's 15. Second red wiggle,
Wow.
born in
15?
born in Ethiopia, adopted by an Australian family. She's a Latin dance champion. Evie Ferris.
Evie.
Evie,
We were like,
yeah.
fuck, there's going to be one named after her, Evie. Jesus Christ, she's going to be obsessed with it.
So is this 3 girls so far?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
2 so far. So
Ah.
Hay and Evie.
Yeah.
Evie is a ballet dancer with the Australian Ballet. She's the second blue wiggle. Ferris, 24, is an Indigenous Australian.
Ferris, a guy or a girl?
Ferris is, well, it doesn't say. Hang on. Ferris must be.
Get up a photo of the 4 of them and then you'll be able to tell what
Why
colour they
does
are.
it say Ferris? Oh, no, sorry. Ferris is Evie Ferris. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, that's her. Then Kelly Hamilton is the second yellow wiggle.
Yep.
She's 45. Good on her. She's Chinese-Australian and will ride her skateboard around Wiggletown. The 4th new cast member is the purple wiggle, John, who used to be in Justice Crew. And
Really?
Jesus. Well, he'll be able to move. I'm pretty sure that's what Justice Crew did. They just danced.
They dance. The night away.
Yeah.
it says here the only remaining wiggle, original wiggle is, is Anthony.
Yeah, that is the
Yeah,
case.
yeah. And no, it said Captain Feathersword, but I think
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
changed
Captain
it.
Feathersword
But I
is.
think they've changed the dude.
Michael Pride owes me $100. He'll never pay me that fucking
So what?
cunt.
There's 8 now.
Yeah, but look, I don't think there are going to be 8 all the time. I think there is a specific production they're starting
Yeah,
where like they're bringing more in. But it's about like
called,
fucking
Fruit Salad TV, which is like a new YouTube thing they're doing.
I think it's about like, you know, represent like so kids see more of themselves on the thing, which I get, that's cool. But there is also an argument that fucking some people will be like, well, where do you draw the line? Because like you could have a disabled wiggle, which I wouldn't be against. Like, you know, there's just many different ways you can slice it up before you have ultimate representation. But I mean, they're just bringing in a few more girls and a few more like ethnic backgrounds. So I'm sort of like, whatever. But some people I think are like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, but so they've also introduced.
Good
I'm
lord.
trying to find the names, but they've introduced 3 new like other characters. So like not Wiggles.
Oh,
But,
Christ.
So off the top of my head,
They better
there
be
was,
good.
I'm just trying to find the names because the names are kind
Yeah,
of good.
find them.
So
So like Dorothy's and shit.
yeah, that kind of vibe.
Dorothy the
here we go.
dinosaur,
So-
Captain Feathersword.
Wags the dog,
Wags
Henry
the-
the octopus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry the octopus.
Yeah.
So they've got 3 new members who are supposedly non-binary. So one of them is Officer Beeples.
Officer what?
Beeples.
Beeples. Okay.
Which apparently that's a non-speaking role, which is I guess how they can just.
So
say,
he's mute as well.
She. It looks like it's a she, but it's a non-binary character. So they.
This shit's where I'm a bit like, who cares?
And especially because they're characters. Because the other 2, there's Shirley Shawn the unicorn. Again, not really non-binary.
Shirley, Sean.
Shirley, Sean.
Yeah,
so
Shirley Shawn.
Right, so it's a male and female name.
Yeah.
Boy, girl, the
But
unicorn.
it's also a unicorn, which doesn't exist, so it can't have a gender, I guess.
well,
And
you can
then-
still have something have a gender that doesn't exist. Like fucking, you just give it a gender.
Sure.
Like here's a fucking dragon.
I think the unicorn historically been more of a female character.
I think it's a fucking whatever.
No, but I mean, like, as a toy, it's sort of like, that's at least my recollection
Yeah,
of
maybe.
unicorns growing up.
I was wearing a unicorn headband last night playing with Evie.
there you go.
The last one, which is my favorite, and again, not sure how they get non-binary from this, but the last one is a hand puppet named Bok. B-O-K.
Well, they've just got to give these weird names. But like, why
do we need to?
Why do we need to acknowledge that it's non-binary?
Why does Bok need to be non-binary?
Why does
Just go, Bok's a hand puppet.
That's what I mean.
Like, what are we talking
That's
about?
Bok.
Yeah,
I'm
They
Bok,
went to
the
zero
non-binary
effort.
hand
They went
puppet.
to 0 effort to make this character as well.
Dude, Bok's fucking shit.
what are we talking about?
I don't. That's the thing that I'm
I've
like.
just stuck the letters B-O-K on there.
Bok's the non-binary hand puppet.
Bok's a hand puppet. Let's leave it
Let's
there.
leave it at that.
What's its name? Bok.
Cool. Again, all good if you're non-binary. All good. No dramas there. But like as a percentage of the population, I don't think there's a vast majority of people even close to that are non-binary. So I am sometimes going like, what is the overwhelming need to fucking... Like, why don't we have a gay cat? Why don't we have, you know, Pussy, the gay cat?
Yeah.
Why not? We've got a lesbian rhinoceros.
No, I mean, that would be more appropriate, I
But
think.
that's what I mean. I'm just like, why not?
because You're not like... Because saying gay and lesbian implies what type of sex they have. And that's a bit of a weird thing to be putting on kids. If you're like, hey, we got male characters, we got female characters, and we've also got non-binary characters, then like kids will go to school. If there's someone non-binary at their school, they'll be like, oh,
If you're
they're cool
fucking
because
watching
they're
the
a wiggle.
Wiggles, you don't give a shit, I don't think, about
yeah.
binary and non-binary. Like,
But it
I just
could-
don't think you even think like that. Like, Evie, and this is not specific to the gender side of things, but I noticed it the other day where we were looking at this book of hers, and it's like there's a car, and she points at it and says car, and there's a lion, and she points at it and says lion. And then there was a picture of a mum and a baby, and it was a black mum and a black baby, and she goes, Evie, mummy, Evie. Like, she's not seeing any difference there. I thought it was really beautiful. I was like, oh, this is lovely. If you're that age, I don't think you're going, oh, non-binary Bok. Oh, Bok doesn't identify with a gender because you don't, that's, you know, and again, that's fine. It's not like an anti-non-binary thing that I'm saying here, but it's just like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. I know what you mean, but also I can see how it may be a useful tool.
Yeah.
If you're introducing it early, being like, some people don't have a gender.
Fair.
Yeah, because like imagine if
And
like,
it's just like a subtle thing
That you just sort of
that
slowly...
you just slowly. From that
it's just
perspective,
normal
I
for
get
them.
it.
Because like
That's fair.
If Evie
That's
had
fair.
like never seen a photo of a dark-skinned person and then like saw one outside, she'd be kind of like surprised. And so maybe it would be the same thing for non-binary. If you just put it there, it's not even a thing for them.
Yeah, I
They're
don't
just
think
like,
it's
yeah, there's
something
some people that
where...
are not-
I certainly don't think it's something where you're like, this shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm certainly not saying that. I mean, 3 non-binary fucking... I don't know. It feels like it's... You can just have Bok the non-binary bear or whatever the fuck it is. But like, it does seem like... I don't know.
You're right in the fact it's weird that they've just gone for 3 random characters and called them non-binary.
Exactly,
Like, if
right?
they'd
It's kind
had
of like there's no effort going into it. You just go, oh, they're non-binary.
Yeah, if you had a member that was non-binary, then that would have been like, oh, okay, cool. That's
Because
like,
you
that's
can
a
then
person, they've
see
got
what a person
personality.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like there's no effort put in. It's like a... I think maybe that's what I find a little bit more of like off-putting, not the right word, but we'll just go with it, is that it seems more like a box tick from someone like the Wiggles. A box tick. To go like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing, but there's no real substantive effort to go and make it to help a child who might feel, you know, non-binary or whatever to understand it. Like if you see a hand puppet called Bok that's non-binary, how the fuck do you identify with a puppet? Like if you've got Bok the non-binary Wiggle,
Yeah.
maybe that's a little easy to understand.
Yeah. That makes sense. That does make sense. It's interesting.
It is interesting.
We live in interesting
We live in
times.
interesting times.
But we move forward
Hey,
as
mate,
a people. You know
we
what I
got
mean?
no beef with
No
Bok
beef.
the non-binary
No
puppet.
beef.
I think the one winner out of this is Anthony the Blue Wiggle, who I've heard gets like, because he's the only original one, he's still getting shitloads of the profits. He still like writes all the songs.
Oh
for
yeah,
them.
dude.
And
Anthony's
he's just extended
balling.
his career and his like.
I think Anthony, the
He's-
brains as well.
Him and his
Yeah.
brother. I think Anthony's worth like 20 mil.
Wow.
I reckon it'd be more than that.
Well, I Googled it, so I'm pretty sure it's close. I'm up to speed on the Wiggles rumblings.
Sure.
There was an inter-Wiggles relationship.
Is Healthy Harold still with us?
There was. I don't.
I thought it was Happy Healthy Harold.
Do you remember the van that used to come around?
Yeah, and you go
that
and sit in the
wasn't
van.
that just the time of your young life?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, Healthy
And he would
Harold's
like
here.
be just pop out from behind the curtain.
That
Yeah.
weird caravan.
And then when you're in year 6, they're like, surprise, he's not real. And they're like, okay.
Pretty sure we were cool with the reality that Harold wasn't real. I am 12. I'm not fucking...
Got high school next year.
Yeah.
How am I going to go on the playground?
Yeah, got a pen license,
Like,
bruh.
look, if I didn't know that Harold wasn't real, then I'm a very high chance of getting flushed day one.
Yeah, and you as a school have failed me
Yeah.
intellectually to allow me to get to year 6 and think that Happy Healthy Harold a living being, and not just a teddy with someone's arm up his ass.
Yeah, Healthy Harold is still around, and from the looks of it, they have not changed the puppet or any of the decor on the vans.
Puppet.
He's been around for 40 years. Which
Has
is
he been through the
double
wash?
lifespan.
Well, but what would I would say to that, Dave? If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
True.
People are too quick to upgrade things. Some things are good as they are.
Yes.
I would point out the demise of the old school pub as, you know, a case in point.
Oh, we need to get some neon lights.
What happened to a bit of grunge?
Yes.
To that off fucking coloured tile? You know
Oh, we
what I
got to
mean?
get a pulled pork
To the-
burger.
what happened to pool tables? What happened to wedges with cream and fucking
and
chili sauce?
Chili sauce.
What happened to that, Tom?
Sorry, Edward. We needed a pulled pork burger and a fucking...
You know, fish tacos, which are great.
They're
That's
phenomenal.
fine. But sometimes I'm in a mood for wedges.
Yeah, and just to sit there and smoke darts. Why can't we have pubs around the city? Again, I don't smoke anymore, but I might if they had this option. Just where there's a few pubs that are identified as smoking wherever you want pubs, and you can just go in there and you can just get belted and you can smoke darts and do whatever the fuck you want and just live the good old days.
And maybe play some pool and maybe play some buck hunter.
Yes, buck hunter, pokies, all of those things.
You know what I mean? Like a nice little TAB. Like Stop ripping the heart and the soul out of venues to fucking...
Justin Hemsify everything.
Which
are good.
No, hey, listen, if I want to go to a Justin Hems establishment, I'll go to one.
Yes, and we do.
But they don't all need to be like
No.
that. Like sometimes I need a little...
I don't need to eat burrata at every pub that I'm at.
Sometimes I need a little boy time. And sometimes my boy time doesn't involve burrata.
I don't need fucking burrata and fucking ceviche.
And I don't need my fucking beer to be laced with Mandarin.
No.
You know what I mean? Just give me a lager and fucking beat
Don't
it.
give me a lemon twist in my beer, all right?
I didn't, what, $12? $12 did you say for a midi? No thanks.
No, thank you. Oh, do you want some burrata with that beer? No, dude. I want a cigarette.
I want a buck hunter.
I want a buck
some
hunter. I
pool.
want pokies. I want the footy. And I just want to sit there and I want to scream at the top of my lungs while talking to my friends. I just try and talk over the people.
I want to scream at people.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And I want the people around me to be screaming.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be yelling and yipping and yahooing.
Not all the
I don't want to
time.
be tapped on the shoulder saying, can you calm down, sir?
No. Put your cigarette out inside, please.
I don't want that.
No.
I don't want that.
Sorry,
You know
you
what I
can't eat where you smoke. What if I want to eat where I smoke?
What if I'm a smoker?
But I'm saying there's a smoking section that you can't eat here. It's like, but I smoke cigarettes as well. So why don't you allow me the autonomy to fucking eat where I want? I'm saying you can't smoke in the eating section, but let me eat in the smoking section, surely.
Yeah. They shouldn't.
Enter at your own risk.
Well, I'm in the smoking section because I'm planning on pounding a dart. And if I want to eat a schnitzel while I do it, that should be on my terms.
That's on my terms.
Obviously, don't walk into an eating section
and start puffing
fucking
darts.
Banging on. Again, Tom and I don't smoke anymore.
No.
But I'm also a little bit like the rules sometimes are beyond madness.
Yeah, they don't logically. It's like everyone individually, if you ask them, we're like, yeah, that's a silly rule. But the collective fucking people not wanting to say the wrong thing, it's like, no, that's just the rule. You can't do that. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? And again, all this talk of cigarettes, I do want one. But there was nothing nicer when you did smoke than pounding a big fucking hearty meal and then just skewy and dart. Tell you where it used to remind me. And yarn. The clock balcony, the clock in Surrey Hills,
still a
great spot.
Yeah.
But you used to be able to, you can still smoke on the balcony, but it used to be you sit on the balcony and you pump fucking schooners and you'd smoke darts. And then you'd get a feed out there and you'd be people watching on the street. And then it was like, oh no, sorry, you can't smoke out here anymore because people eat. I was like, this is fucking mad.
Can't you smoke up there now?
Yeah, but they've got the eating section. So you used to be able to just eat up there.
Yeah.
Now you've got to move from where you're sitting, and the seats are like premium in terms of
gold, Tom.
If you move, you need to get there early and you need to secure your shit. But now it's like, oh, sorry, yeah, did you love these seats? Well, now you got to get up and move to the non-smoking area, eat. Then you're going to come back and your seats are going to be taken. So you've been displaced.
Mate, you know what it is? It's fucking red tape getting in the way. Red tape's always been annoying.
Yeah.
Red tape needs to know its fucking goddamn place.
Red tape has a place, but it's fucking oft used and used too willy-nilly.
Mate, did we make too much red tape and now it's just in surplus?
We have a
just got to
surplus of
fucking
red
get
tape.
rid of it. Because things are everything I see, Tom, now is wrapped in red tape.
Yeah.
Head to toe.
I think there's been red tape diverted from other areas where usually there's more red tape.
Where there should be more red tape.
Yeah, things
100%.
like approving new mines or new property development.
Yeah,
things
or
things
fucking
like
passing
that.
bills and shit where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
no, we're going to put this red tape over on where you can eat in a smoking section or vice versa. But it's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, BHP. You want to blow up, Rio Tinto, blow up this 40,000-year-old indigenous cave. But you're not allowed to smoke or eat in the smoking section.
we're not going to fine you either. You know what I mean?
No, play on. Oh, we'll fine you
You would get fined more for smoking in an eating section than Rio Tinto did for blowing up
a 40,000-year-old Aboriginal cave, which...
I'm telling you, that would be the case.
That's one of the most galling, disgraceful acts that I've ever heard of, and it was fucking barely reported on.
And it wasn't their first hit out.
No, they love blowing up indigenous caves.
They do it all the time.
It's just fucking insane. And it's just to rip up everything out of the ground and then just ship it off. And it's like, you just leave these fucking pop marks, like pimple marks on the fucking face of the earth. Again, not anti-mining punters and dribblers, but if you find a 40,000-year-old indigenous cave, which is like the fucking history of this country.
And it's sacred as fuck.
Sacred as fuck. You can't just go blowing that shit up willingly.
Knowingly.
Knowingly. Oh, yeah, fuck it. fuck it.
and then not get any repercussions.
What was their punishment for that?
When we get repercussions all the time.
But also, they're a foreign company in our country blowing up our shit.
Mate, there's fucking, like, not to get too COVID-y, but like Grace, Ella's sister, was saying that friends of hers the other day went for a swim and they meandered out of the water too slowly, $3,000 a pop.
Bullshit.
100%. So like, and fucking big old Rio's blowing up caves and play on. But you meandered out of the water too slow, $3,000.
So the maximum fine, which I'm not sure what it's maximum for exactly, if it's for their company or if it's for what they did. But basically the maximum fine that they could be fined for blowing up Aboriginal sites is $50,000.
So basically $1 for every 1,000 years of the age of the cave.
Yeah.
50,000 for Rio Tinto.
Yeah. What's their market capitalizations? Like, just type in Rio Tinto market cap.
So, like, basically all it would require is for them to sack
170 billion.
$50,000.
Dude,
that is madness.
That is disgusting.
Bro, I talked to my mum about this because she works for a bank, and every time I
just
see,
before
like,
you can, this light's flashing here on the camera.
Okay.
Is that a problem?
Do that. It's not really because we've got it here.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
You better be right.
Yeah. But yeah, like every time there's like a bank that gets fined for like, you know, money laundering or for doing whatever, for letting people do dodgy shit, I'm like, oh, like, is it going to do anything? And she's like, no, they get fined like a fraction of what they made doing the illegal thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll be under the pump for like a year or two, so they won't do anything. And then they'll just forget about it, and then they'll start doing it again 3 years later.
They fuck. The level of accountability is absurdly low.
But you would think, though, in these times where we've had to fucking pour money out to help businesses survive, that you'd be looking to raise a little revenue where you can. And if Rio's fucking up, blowing shit up, I'd be like, fine the fuck out of them.
I mean, would you not think that maybe, like, if you're Rio Tinto, tinfoil hat as this may sound, like either they're just paying off government officials to just go, listen, we're bringing jobs to your country, you would assume they are, and then we're just ripping out all of your natural resources and fucking offshore. But, you know, we're bringing some sort of economic stimulus
but push
to your
the
country.
envelope a little bit. Be like, bro.
All right, so I might be able to answer your question. In the last decade, the mining industry has disclosed donations of $50 million to federal political parties. And that's disclosed.
Yeah. And yet they only had to pay $50,000 for blowing up a 40,000-year-old Aboriginal cave.
You'd get more for dumping asbestos.
You get more for smoking in an eating section.
Yeah, seriously. Well, like, think about it, $50,000. Mitchell Pearce got fined more. Mitchell Pearce got fined more for fucking a dog. Oh my god! He got fined. Mitchell Pearce got fined $120,000 for humping a dog. Didn't even fuck it. He was just having a laugh.
Didn't even fuck it.
He was just having a laugh. Nelson Asofa Solomona probably got fined more for punching on outside a Balinese nightclub, and Rio Tinto blows up a fucking cave.
Paul Vaughan got fined more.
Paul Vaughan lost $800,000. He lost an $800,000 contract and got fined out the arse.
I think he got fined more than $50,000. Rio Tinto walking away, going, fuck it,
sorry.
That's
Mate,
unbelievable.
Rio Tinto, you know what they're saying? They're going, thank fuck we don't play rugby league where there's real accountability.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's accountability. That's the only accountability left in this world.
Rugby league players get held to a higher standard than fucking Rio Tinto do. $50,000, bro. That is disgusting.
That's the maximum fine. There's no guarantee they were even fucking hit with 100%.
So the maximum fine for blowing up an indigenous site is $50,000.
If you're a multinational.
Yeah, if I just went and blew one up, I'd probably be fined a lot more.
No, you'd be jailed for life.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be ripped limb from limb.
I'd be ripped limb from limb.
Little posh boy from fucking the Highlands.
Yeah, I'd have bloody Tracy Grimshaw outside my house. I'd be getting fucking absolutely
You'd have an
ravaged.
ACA problem.
I'd be out of a serious ACA problem. And Today Tonight.
Oh, they wouldn't miss you.
The Project.
Oh.
They'd all get me.
Oh, they'd line up. Limb.
None of them.
They'd take a limb out.
Who's the fucking head of Rio Tinto in Australia?
I can't believe people aren't talking about that more.
But
if it wasn't for us, people would have forgotten.
People would have forgotten about it.
The CEO is Jacob Stausholm.
Yeah, right. Jacob sounds like a fucking operator.
Jacob with the K.
You can't trust anyone.
Stausholm?
Stausholm. Yeah.
Where's Rio Tinto from? Are they South African?
Don't know.
You actually talking about to piss my pants.
Rio Tinto. It says it's Anglo-Australian.
Anglo-Australian? No, but I know. BHP is.
The headquarters is in London and Melbourne.
Just look up the history of the company, where it started.
Yeah. So it says, just while I'm looking, the reason the fines are so low is because it's under South Australian law. It's not even federal law. So South Australia have got like a damaging Indigenous artifacts law.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could think like, I mean, I don't know what that probably wasn't made for mining companies blowing up giant rocks, but it was probably more made for like, I don't know, stealing shit from museums and stuff and like, I don't know, sites. But basically the reason it's so low is because it's a state law on like Aboriginal protection type thing, which they clearly didn't care that much.
But South Australia are big lefties. Like, you would think that they, of all states, would be a bit more stringent with this shit.
I think so. I just think they just caught it at a time when no one had updated the laws. Because like when I'm Googling this, there's a lot of things like, you know, calls for them to, you know, put harsher penalties and stuff like that. So I think...
have they updated?
No.
They haven't?
They haven't. Rio Tinto probably knew. They're like, well, we can just do this shit and the most they're going to fine us is 50K. And so they did.
Madness.
Dude, I got fucking acupuncture yesterday.
Walk me through it.
So Steph, my beautiful darling wife, who is pregnant as fuck, and I think it helps with her pregnancy. I think that's what like pregnant women do. I don't know whether it's like... I remember she did it last time as well. Like it relieves like... whatever the fuck acupuncture does, it's good for pregnant women. But she was like, she's always raving about it. She's like, she just booked us both in yesterday. She's like, I want you to experience it.
How often does she get it?
I think at the late stages of pregnancy, she'll get it once a week. But she I don't really... I was just like, whatever, okay, fuck it. I'm not stoked on needles getting stuck in my body, but fuck it. So the woman was like, well, what's your ailment? So I was like, I guess my back, like lower back. And like, I just said shin splints, but I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're going to do with those.
Does every male our age have lower back issues?
Surely. Even mates that I know who are fucking like Jack, like Rugby World Cup hero Sam Carter, who's a fucking athlete, his back's fucked. He's always having a stretch. Like, and not, obviously he's a bit like he's our age now, but like, it's not like, oh, well, I don't do sit-ups and I've got zero core, so that I've got a bad back. Like, everyone seems to have bad backs.
A lot of my tall friends are already gone as well.
Well,
Like,
Carter's
they're
tall as
young.
fuck. That
Yeah.
could be why.
My back, touch wood, is in a good place at the
Same.
moment.
Mine's in a good place.
You might ask me why. I would say I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
There's no
Rhyme or reason?
There's no reason. What did fuck my back initially? Just to get this out in the open, I think we addressed the back and then we moved to acupuncture, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deadlifting. Now, I asked countless times, am I doing this right? The answer was yes. Like,
Where are you training?
maybe I'm not the world's best deadlifter, but like,
I could imagine that to be the case.
but I was supposedly was doing it, you know, by the book.
Yeah.
And it was just getting to a point where I'm like, this is fucking my back up. And I just threw it in the bin and never did it again. And after that, it's sort of been like a road to recovery a little bit. Like,
When were you deadlifting?
fucking 5 years ago.
Oh, really? I thought there was... Oh, so you think that was the genesis of your bad
I reckon
back?
that was the genesis of it. Yeah, for sure. That was when like it fucking went real bad and like it was sort of like hard to sit down and shit some days. But it would mend.
Okay.
And then there was like maybe sometimes the last time I did my back actually was we were in fucking Bunnings. And they were like, you can't have your dog in here, even though I thought you could. And they're like, he's got to be in a trolley. And then Tonka was getting pretty big at this stage. I'm like, fuck it. And I tried to like pick him up quickly to put him on the trolley, and then it went. But it hasn't gone since then.
Well,
It's
I
been
thought
alright.
I thought it went once when you were trying to jump over some sand or something and you thought the sand was going to be soft and it was quite hard.
When was that?
It was like you and Ella were in Byron. Was it when you were going to propose? Mate, no, it wasn't when you were going to propose. But you were in Byron.
No,
and you were jumping off
that's
rocks
right.
onto sand.
That's right.
You thought the sand was going to be
I
soft.
thought the sand was going to be soft. I was jumping off rocks onto the sand. That's exactly right. And I'd anticipated soft sand. And the hardness, and it was fucking. It would almost like it'd been compacted.
It was almost like sand just covering rock.
Yes,
Like a sheet of rock.
and it did me in. And I had to drive all the way back from Byron.
Ella made
And-
you drive back.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I'm still sitting. I would have had to have laid in the back.
Because there is a difference when you have a bad back and I love Ella, but you having to sit there and be on as opposed to being like, "Oh, you can."
It wasn't. No. She would have driven if I wasn't.
Bullshit. She would. You have to drive everywhere.
No, I like driving.
No, so do I. I prefer to drive.
She'll drive.
But if my back was fucked,
Oh, she'll drive. Not a problem.
okay. I love you, Ella, but I don't think you will.
No, she'll drive. I can't throw under the bus like that. She would drive if I'd asked. I think it was just me being big and tough, like trying to weather the storm.
Right, like
I've
fuck,
always
I got
been
this.
a bit like I'm sort of when it comes to ailments. This is why pilot's so great. I like to ignore it generally.
Oh, mate, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
Do you know what I mean?
Dude, but that's the same thing with my back. Like, there's ways out of the bad back game. I don't know how wholly and solely there are ways out of it, but I don't do anything.
I believe
for
the
it.
stretching of the
glutes and your hammies, and then obviously
glutes?
core strength and shit. But I wasn't in need of acupuncture because my back. I'm in a good place back-wise. Like, it's still a bit sore. Like, it gets sore if I sit down for too long and I've got to like
if I go like this now, if I stretch my back, arch my back, if you're watching on YouTube, it is. I can feel a twinge of soreness.
right. See, whereas mine feels good if I do this.
Really?
Because it's like straight and sturdy. Whereas when I'm like this, it's a bit sort of like rounded and fucked. Anyway, so I'm like, fuck it. All right, we'll go to acupuncture. Steph got upset at me because I was upset because it was in the middle of the day. Because it's like Tuesday, I don't really work because of Evie. I'm looking after, like, it's daddy-daughter day. So then it's like Wednesday I need to sort of just be into work. And it was booked in. And I could have changed it, but I didn't. And I still got pissed off on the day. And she was like, you had the, anyway, we got in a fight.
Oh, you got in a fight?
No, not a real fight.
Is that good energy to take to the acupuncture table?
No, we didn't get in a fight. That's a poor representation. I was a little bit salty. But I let it go. And I went in there. I went in with an open mind as well. I was like, fuck it. A lot of people do this shit. Like, I'll see what happens. Now, I'm not knocking acupuncture, but basically I just sat there. I lay on my front. I sent you the photo, didn't I?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
They stuck.
I thought you were going to put it up.
Well, maybe I will now. They put needles through my undies into my ass. So
Why through the undie?
She told me that she was like, lay on your front because it was about your back. So like, we'll pull your pants down. I'm like, sweet. But then I was like, did she pull my undies down and she just jammed fucking needles straight through my underpants? Like, surely that's going to take some fibers into my fucking, I don't know. They're very thin needles. But so she put like a bunch of needles in my ass and then a couple in my back, like lower back.
How small are they?
They're very thin, but they're very long.
Right.
I guess they don't disappear in you. But then two in my feet, which was, I was like, well, what? But yeah, she did it, whatever. But apparently, and Steph's like, all right, now just relax and like feel the pressure releasing. And I'm like, okay. So I'm just like laying there with these. And like if I tried to move slightly, my feet, like it would twinge because there are fucking needles in it.
Does it hurt?
It hurts going in, but it doesn't hurt. It's like ooh. But some of them do hurt more where you're like, it's hitting a nerve or something, or it's twinging. But it just was like, I just didn't. Steph, I roll over and look at Steph. She's got one in her fucking head here and then one in her scalp. And I'm like, what? Like, and she was completely like, we get in there and the woman's like, all right, so what are you feeling? Steph's like, I've just got so much of this sort of pressure here. And the woman's like, okay, great. And I'm like, with me, she just jammed me in my back. And then she was like, well, I don't really know what to do with shin splints. I'm like, don't put any of my shins, doll. I've already got fucking needles all over me. Just don't worry about the shin splints. Anyway, I just, with the greatest respect to acupuncture, it didn't do shit. I feel no different. It was a waste of my time. Well, you get a yarn out of it, but...
Is acupuncture in the world of woo-woo?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's firmly
entrenched in the world of woo-woo.
It's in camp woo-woo, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. It's not a registered doctor thing.
No.
See, it's funny, isn't it? Like, in my experience at least, I can only speak from my experience, the females in my life tend to lean more into camp woo-woo than the men do.
Yep.
And they seem to get a lot out of it. Like Steph clearly gets a lot out of acupuncture, and if it helps her, then fucking go for gold.
Fantastic.
I wonder if...
Have you seen those things? They got the jade rollers. Surely Ella's got one of those where they just roll a fucking...
Oh, bro. And it's like cold?
And it squeaks. It's like...
Dude, there's serious money in that.
I'm like, what the fuck is it? It actually like displaces fucking shit in you. I'm like, okay.
It's just a face massager.
That's
No, but
not,
it
that's not how it's
displaces
sold,
stuff.
Dave. It breaks up the fascia or some bullshit. I'm like, okay.
I wonder, like,
It's anti-fascist.
are we too cynical
And
to
maybe
enjoy
a good woo-woo.
the riches of that woo woo provides? Just like, because that's what I'm always getting told. I'm not open to shit enough. Like, I'm not open to tarot cards. I'm not open to psychics. I'm not open to acupuncture or to fucking fascia rollers and shit. That's what I keep getting told. And I'm like, I can't help that though if I am a little fucking, I raise an eyebrow to this shit.
Yeah.
I can't turn that off.
Sorry.
But I'm constantly told that the reason that the riches that woo-woo provides are off limit to me is because I'm too negative about it.
Right. We don't open our hearts to woo-woo.
I haven't opened my heart to woo-woo, and therefore woo-woo hasn't entered my body.
No. And I don't mind.
Do you think that's the case? Have I intrinsically denying woo-woo a place in my heart?
Well, yeah, you are. But I don't think you're denying it. It's like, you could say that about anything. It's more just like, listen, the way that my brain works or your brain works is that I will evaluate things based on merit. And I'm not saying that there isn't merit to woo-woo. I like woo-woo, but I like it more in, say, like the betting. I'm open to woo-woo when it comes to punting.
Yes.
That's about as far as I go. I'll do like ritualistic shit maybe if I want some good woo-woo.
Science.
Is
Omenry woo-woo? It's more of a science.
Well, we treat it like a science. I take it as seriously as science. It's male woo-woo, though. Omenry, definitely the male woo-woo.
100% it's male woo-woo. And, what's it called? Fucking where you do the same thing over and over again.
Superstition. Yeah.
That's woo-woo.
Yeah, that's woo-woo. But
men, they subscribe to
woo-woo.
superstition.
We subscribe to woo-woo when it suits. But it's like, if I've got to go and fucking have my stool sample read by some sort of psychic, I'm going to be like, you know what? No, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Look, I don't know about having my stool sample.
No, yeah.
read
Let me
by
sort
psychic.
through your feces and I'll tell you your future. Okay. Sure. Great.
Maybe wear gloves next time.
What are you doing? Jesus
In your
Christ.
fingernails. Anyway.
It's disgraceful.
So you didn't get anything out of it?
Nah, nothing.
Did that annoy Steph?
Probably a little bit.
Was she a little bit disappointed that you weren't...
My back started hurting when I got in the car.
You didn't come out of it as like a proponent for...
I don't know that she got... I don't know if it annoyed her or anything, but she was just a bit like... I was just like, no, I feel no different. I was like, my back started to hurt when we were in the car. I was like, oh, my back's actually feeling a little bit... Which it was like... It wasn't like it felt worse because of the woo-woo. It's just like, oh, back's still sore. Needles in my fucking body didn't do much. So will I be going back? I'd say no. Unless I'm like, if my back was fucked, I would be I'd be open to trying anything, but I'm not like just going to go and spend money on fucking woo-woo for no reason.
Tim, who has a bad back, this is Ella's old man, has tried everything under the sun, and he's like, chiropractors, nah, acupuncture, nah.
I used to go to a chiropractor when I was younger.
Because I believe chiropractors,
That falls under woo-woo.
it does. They are apparently chiropractors are only big in Australia, Canada, maybe the US and the UK. Everywhere else, it's like, what are you doing?
I used to go to a chiropractor when I was in high school, and the shit that they do to your neck and back. Have you been to one before?
No.
Bruh. Like, I didn't know it was woo-woo when I was going as a 13-year-old. And
You
then
thought it was like physiotherapy.
Well, chiropractor sounds like a doctor. Like,
Yes,
it sounds like something legit.
Yeah. How they get tractor onto the end, you know?
That's how you like de-woo-woo yourself. At least for like the storefront window.
Put TOR
Yeah.
on the end and you're home and
Actor, tractor, whatever. But this guy would he'd like have his hands here. I'm like, and he'd go, and you just feel your whole thing crack. And I'd be like, oh, great. And then like he would say that, he said that I had, he was like, I was pigeon-toed, which I don't think that I fucking was. But, he was like, oh, you're a bit pigeon-toed. So what we'll do is we just need to fix the alignment of your back to make your feet go straighter. And so he'd crack the fucking, I'd have to lay like on my back, like this, and then he'd be here, and it'd be like 1, 2, 3, and he'd fucking reef me that way while my back stayed flat, and he'd go like, and just all crunched. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I felt some shit happen there. Like, you can't see inside me what's going on. You're just like feeling with your fucking. He had this little thing.
And
where he's
did
like,
your feet de-pigeon?
I don't think it was ever much of an issue, to be honest. The pigeon, I've never had pigeon toes. Certainly if I did, like, I mean, you'd notice if I had pigeon toes because, like, you can't help but notice someone who, like, walks feet in.
Oh, look, knowing basically nothing about the sacred art of chiropractic, could you make the argument that it's just an elevated level of cracking your fingers?
Yeah, it's just someone who's cracking your spinal cord. But the stakes are much
like, you
higher.
don't crack your fingers and go, thank God, like I feel so much better.
Isn't the sound of your fingers cracking just like gas releasing or some shit?
I thought it's air pockets.
Yeah.
But I could Google that.
Like bubble wrap in your hands.
Yeah, like bubble wrap.
I do it all the time.
I do it a bit.
And some people say it's bad for you. And
I never used to do it. I did it when I was a kid, and then I stopped doing it for ages. It's come back into my life. I don't know
it's a bit of a
what that means.
Yeah, you're right. It is gas bubbles in the joint.
Thank you.
Create space between them and then pop the gas bubbles.
Love it.
Yeah, people say that you get arthritis from doing it. I don't know.
I don't want arthritis because that'd
wide
suck.
scale.
Huh?
You reckon that's an old...
Definitely, I reckon.
I reckon I'm a little arthritic in my
We got told
knee.
that by my PDHP teacher in high school.
That it was bullshit.
Yeah.
I remember once, and this isn't like, I remember once when I was, I think it was when I was like 8. You know, if you think about it, like when you're a kid coming through school, you think your teacher, because they're the people are the smartest people on the planet.
Yes.
Like just because like their job is to teach, they have all of the knowledge. And I'd get home and I'd be like telling them, I'm like, yeah, well, fucking Mr. Browning is smarter than you. She's like, no, he's not. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, he's definitely saying, like, no, he's not. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? I'm like, yeah, he is. Who are you? You're just.
How did that conversation come up?
It was obviously something around like a schooling thing, and it's
Yes.
like Mr. Browning said something, and Mum's like, "That's not true." And I'm like, well, what the fuck would you know? You're not a teacher." She's like, "Listen, that doesn't mean any smarter." And I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I was blown away. And then obviously, as you get older, you realize like just because you're a teacher doesn't.
And then when you get older, like to our age, you realize that it's just a syllabus they read from.
Well, yeah, exactly. They're not actually. It's not like
written it at all.
No, this hasn't come from a life of spent like studying fucking dinosaurs.
No.
Or weather patterns.
No.
Cumulonimbus clouds.
No, that's right. So,
but that wasn't to shit on your PDHPE teacher telling you about cracking your fingers and arthritis. But
there are old wives' tales like that, though. There's other ones that are escaping me.
oh, if you pull a funny face and the wind changes, your fucking face gets stuck that way.
That's a good one.
If you
There
sit
was
too
a
close
book
to the
about
TV,
that.
your eyes go square.
Yeah, if you eat your carrots, you can see in the dark,
the
which
dark.
I still think there might be some truth.
I think
to.
there's, yeah.
Okay,
I haven't
this
had
is-
anyone fucking debunk that one.
This is the great thing about that. So that's complete bullshit. But it happened because in the Second World War, the English had invented radar, but the Germans hadn't. And so they could see all this shit and put it in the papers and stuff saying, oh, the reason we can see all these targets and stuff is because we eat lots of carrots and carrots are good for your eyesight.
Bullshit.
That's a true
Really?
story, yeah.
Is that legit?
That's legit.
That's interesting.
And also on that, the reason German Shepherds are called Alsatians as well is because when the Allies were using it in the war, they didn't want to call their dogs German Shepherds. So they changed the name to Alsatian.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know. I thought Alsatian was, I didn't realize that was just reserved for German Shepherds.
Yeah, it's an Alsatian, yeah.
I thought that was just like another term for dogs and shit, like canine.
No. But there was only, you've only ever heard it used in the instance of a German Shepherd, I'm sure. You don't see a
But I
Rottweiler
wouldn't
go
have, yeah,
Alsatian.
but I'm saying I wouldn't have made that connection because I wouldn't have been thinking about it that much. I like German Shepherds as a dog. Not mad at them.
They're, I believe, loyal basically to only one person in the family. So they're not...
Oh, so they're not like friendly to everyone.
No, they are, but they're not, at least what I've been led to believe, they're not big, like massive family dogs because they are big into the alpha and that's
Apparently as well, their backs fucking blow out real hard like later in life. Like
it.
that.
All those big dogs fuck out, their hips and shit go.
Yeah. Is that what's, does that, well, maybe it wouldn't happen with Tonky yet, but he's like.
Roddy's,
Is he still growing or is he done growing?
he should thicken out a little bit. He's
Thickening out different.
Yeah. No,
but
he's done growing.
Growing.
He's done
Because he's
growing.
fucking massive.
He's done growing.
He
yeah.
is fucking massive. His head
Yeah, big head.
is humongous. Like
big.
just thinking about the skull
Yeah.
size of that fucking head, I'm like, that is the biggest fucking head on a dog I've ever seen. And then when you think about like, obviously Tonka a sweet, sweet boy, but if he wanted to kill me,
Oh, I know.
there's actually nothing I could do.
No. He's a presence. He's huge.
Yeah.
And they get bigger as well. You get up to like 60 kilos, like, and their heads. What I find fascinating about Tonka, dogs in general, but Tonka when I look at him, is like their dexterity with their mouth is fucking wild.
Really?
Like, they can pick up shit. You know how like you find it hard to pick stuff off the ground if
Yeah.
it's flat?
Yeah.
You can't get a fucking
Yeah,
go of it.
Yeah, you can't get a
bang. He'll just pull straight in the mouth. Like he hasn't got that problem.
Do you think that's because he's got the benefit of not just the dexterity of the sort of the mouth like we have with our fingers, but he's also got some sucking of an oxygen? Like could we go
possibly there's some sucking involved, and the use of the tongue,
Yeah.
I imagine, plays a role.
Like if we had a tongue in our hands and the ability to like an elephant's trunk sort of a thing.
Yeah. But I've like lately I've been noticing his ability to just get shit into his mouth. Where I'm
but-
like, he's no chance here, and bang, it's
He's
in.
got it.
Yeah.
Also, just like with those dogs, the awareness, like even with him when I saw him last, and again, he was on your couch. This was when we were working, and we were packing fucking hats, and he was on the couch, and then it was like he wasn't allowed on the couch. But then I'm not going to discipline. If I just see him on the couch, I'm like, you're all good here, bro. I don't care. But so then I'm going in to like pat him, and he just starts. Because I don't know him well, he just starts growling. But he wasn't growling like in an aggressive sense. He was just going like, ah. But I'm like, oh, fuck. I know that he's all good, but it would just take one nip to like remove an eye or a nose or something. And I'm just like fucking scared. But then like I've got my hand, I'm like sort of wrestling him a little bit, my hand's in his mouth. And just like that gentle bite they give you where you go like, they could just rip this thing off. But he knows, he's just like,
He's very gentle, yeah. He's very vocal player.
But so, like, can you get your head right up in his face?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
yeah.
fuck around? Because that's what's always fun. But then you're like, Sebo used to have a dog.
problem.
Sebo's old dog, Spot. He was a great dog. But if you were to come and, like, get up, like, wrestle him, he'd bite you in the face. And it always freaked me out. I was always like,
No, he doesn't bite. Yeah,
What kind of dog was it?
it was just like a blue heeler cross something. But just like he was a very lovely dog. But if you got up in his grill, he'd nip you up.
Mate, he's crazy. We were sitting on the couch the other day, and he just looks up, and I'm like, what's going on here? And then he just runs to the door, but wasn't growling or barking or something. And I'm like, what do you fucking want, dude? And he just stood there and like looking at me, and he's like up and ready. And so I opened the door and he went outside, and there was a possum like probably 5 meters away on the tree, and they just stared at it for like 20 minutes. But like the scent thing is again just fucks
another
me
level.
out. Like he knows when I'm home. Like if I sit in the car at the front, Ella's like, he knows you're here, he can smell you.
Yeah, that's the same with Louis, dude. Louis, when we were in Bondi and we were at the top of the apartment, like the top level of a 3-story apartment building, and either Steph or I would just be driving home downstairs, and Louis, like as the car is just the sound of the car, he would know, but like as you're driving down the driveway, he'd just start meowing and he'd just sit at the door meowing, and he just knew it was you. Or he'd like, Steph would be just in the stairwell downstairs, and you're like, how the fuck do you know?
Back to that, what we were saying, our senses have dulled the fuck out.
Yeah, they have. They've dulled.
All our vibes are gone.
Well, there's a theory like if you spend your whole life that close to the ground, your sense of smell is going to be good and you're going to be able to differentiate between shit. Like if you're living your life 1 meter off the ground.
But their sense of smell is so much better than ours.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even close.
But that's also probably because they have to be, right?
But it's like a million times better.
Yeah.
Which to me, I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
It always wigs me out.
Like how a million times better? Isn't that the number? It's something
Yeah, but that's
fucked
like,
up.
but that's what happens. Like certain animals have that shit, right? It's like a gorilla's way stronger than us. It's like, well, that's just
Yeah, it's like evolution.
What are we? What are we? We're basically only good at fucking endurance.
Like, I guess.
In endurance, we
yeah.
fuck. Do
Do we dominate?
Endurance.
Yeah.
Dave. I just sent
We
you.
can, but you know we can beat a horse over a marathon.
I didn't know that.
I probably couldn't.
No, and I probably couldn't either. But like, that's fucking wild.
Yeah. Wild.
Are these, is what you just sent me here, these dudes that like don't die? They're like immortal?
No, I don't know. I got sent it, and it was basically someone.
Who don't die?
There's some dribbler sent us a thing that's saying it was an animal that can't see, and it operates off vibe alone. And I was like, is this bullshit? It's a Wikipedia link, so who the fuck knows?
Yeah, a lot of moles. Well, some of them like just don't have eyes, and there's a few that like don't have.
Yeah, it's a mole.
They don't like. They just don't die. The only way they can die is like by a predator.
What the fuck are moles?
Yeah, they do what? No, moles die, Dave. Moles aren't invincible.
Die, but they don't have like natural things in their genes that cause them to die of old age. Kind of like lobsters do, but lobsters can live to like 400 years old.
So
lobsters can live to 400.
How old can moles live?
Because you know that aging is a disease that can be cured.
I've heard things to that effect on like Rogan podcasts and shit.
Sorry, it's believed that lobsters can live
it.
as long as 100 years. There are some giant tortoises that can live like upwards of 200 years.
Yeah, they're Galapagos. And then there's the Greenland shark, which can live for like 500 years.
Yeah.
They found 500-year-old sharks. It's the oldest living vertebrate.
Sharks are older. Sharks as a species older than trees.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think crocodiles.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And good news, we're killing both.
Yeah, look, when we're said and done, there'll be none of both.
No trees, no sharks.
Fuck them.
Yeah, so with this mole, it says, so they got nostrils and stuff that they use. In this respect, too, they resemble the marsupial moles. Some authors claim their primary sense is of touch, and they are particularly sensitive to vibrations, which may indicate approaching danger. So they use the vibrations.
So they do a vibe.
They're vibe operators.
Yeah. So the mole.
Yeah, this is the Cape Golden mole.
So the mole should be the, like the animal, the representation of vibe.
Yeah.
You could argue.
Yeah.
Can you look up quickly? It's coming to my head. There's like a jellyfish. I don't know if it's the box jellyfish or the what it is, but that it's actually like 4 separate organisms that live together harmoniously to create the jellyfish. Yeah.
Oh, it's the first thing that comes up.
I've got another thing actually that's going to blow your mind.
I think it's the blue bottle.
Blue bottle might be the blue.
Really?
Bottle. Yeah. I think it is.
So, wow. So it's a Siphonophore, which, like all Siphonophores, it's a colonial organism.
A colonial organism?
Yeah, don't get cancelled for that. Made up of many smaller units called zooids. All zooids in a colony are genetically identical, but fulfill specialized functions such as feeding and reproduction, and together allow the colony to operate as a single individual.
So they're kind of like when the Power Rangers all come together to form that fucking...
Correct.
What's that called? The Megalord or Megazord? Can you just check what that is? Because that's basically what the jellyfish is. If I'm understanding correctly,
you're reading between the lines.
If I'm reading between the lines, Megazord.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yeah, Megazord.
Thank you. So the box jellyfish is a Megazord.
The giant humanoid robot is a squadron of 5 dinosaurs robots called the Dinozords as well.
Yes, well, because each Power Ranger is a Dinozord, and then I used to have all of them, and they'd come together to make the thingo, and it was fucking dope. I also sent you another one, Dave, another link that I saw. So there was, I can't remember where.
The one in Pompeii?
I'm not sure, but they were excavating a site to build on, and they found this
it wasn't.
Dinosaur so well preserved that they can't actually call it a fossil because it's like 3D preserved. It's got all of the fucking skin tissue and some of the organs inside it.
Organs?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Preserved in what? Ice?
No. So like, for whatever reason, and it's not flattened. So
what's it embalmed in?
No, they call it a mummy. That's what they're saying. They call it a mummy, not a fossil, because it's fucking, so usually if you find like the fossil, it's like flat. This thing is like, it looks like a dinosaur sleeping, like how you'd look at it. Look at that. Just get up and go over. That's what I was going to save it until we get a fucking TV here.
But how the fuck has it been preserved?
Dave will be able to read through it, or while he's showing you, I'll read through it.
Holy shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. I'll read it here. We don't just have a skeleton, one researcher said. We have a dinosaur as it would have been. Scientists are hailing it as the best preserved dinosaur specimen ever discovered. That's why you cannot see its bones. They remain covered intact by intact skin and armor. Found accidentally by miners in Canada, so maybe it was frozen. This fossilized nodosaur is more than 110 million years old. Yet patterns are still visible on the skin, according to the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology in Alberta, Canada, which recently unveiled the find. The dinosaur is so well preserved that instead of a fossil, we could safely call it a dinosaur mummy. The researchers examined the find were astounded at its nearly unprecedented level of skin preservation. The creature's skin, armor, and even some of its guts were intact, something they'd never seen before. You don't need to use much imagination to reconstruct it. If you squint your eyes a bit, you could almost believe it was a sleeping dinosaur.
110 million years.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Just fucking laying there, dude.
That's fucking wild. That is wild stuff.
So here they go. Although how the dinosaur mummy could remain intact for so long remains somewhat of a mystery, researchers suggest that the nodosaur may have been swept away by a flooded river and carried out to sea, where it eventually sank to the ocean floor. As millions of years passed, minerals could have settled on the dinosaur's armor and skin. This might help explain why the creature was preserved in such a lifelike form. To me, in my mind, hearing that, I'm like, if it's swept out to sea, isn't that thing just getting eaten, like, immediately by animals and shit?
Well, yeah. Okay, so it says
I didn't
here-
know that the depths of like you could preserve shit at fucking on the ocean floor like that.
That's what I mean. I'm like, I thought that all the little bugs and microbes and whatever the fuck just come and go.
Thanks for coming.
I
I
think
thought there was shit down there that fucking waited for shit to see.
Yeah.
No, but I think the reason it survived so long is because it's so heavily armored. Because it says here, since this dinosaur was a herbivore, its skin color and armor must have played a role in protecting it from the enormous carnivores present at the time. And the fact that we're talking about a massive, heavily armored dinosaur illustrates just how dangerous those predators must have been.
Yeah, that's cool.
pretty fucked.
That's cool.
This dude was said to weigh 3,000 pounds, still weighs 2,500 pounds.
The preservation was so good that researchers were able to tell the dinosaur's skin color by mass spectrometry techniques to detect actual pigments in the skin.
Now we can start being racist to dinosaurs.
There you go.
What
That's
a
all we
time to
want.
be alive.
Crazy though, right? We'll put up, if you're watching the video, we'll put up a photo of the fucking dinosaur and a link to the thingo, if I remember.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah.
You gotta love that.
Gotta love that. I saw that, I was like, holy fuck, that's badass. How long have we been going for, D?
We're hour 40.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, we've probably got to head out.
Got to head out.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I reckon. Fuck.
Mate, I think we haven't said a fucking thing about sport. Again, Thursday pod. Oh, now I forgot to wear mine. You're not wearing yours either. But next Wednesday, our collab shirts with Bloke in a Bar go on sale. Blokeinabar.com, I think, is where they'll go on sale. Just the front of it, D, not the back. I think we're saving the back for. There you go. Well done, Dave. 3 colours. So that colour that you just saw there, where it's white and they were like cream and red. Then we've got black and white, and then we've got the Bloke in a Bar brown and orange colour.
Yep. Love it.
There you go. Beautiful. But I think that's us.
Hell of a show, Tom.
Hell of a show. Have a wonderful weekend. Go the Manly Sea Eagles.
Go the
Tommy
Eagles.
Turbo back. Fuck everyone else with the greatest respect.
Bye-bye.
Could you two just not talk anymore?